Uniquely Madison. Greetings and salutations. I'm Madison, and today I have a very special piece of memorabilia with me. It is Walt Disney's Guide to Disneyland. This is special to me for several reasons. Firstly, it was gifted to me by my dad, and he got this booklet when he was a child visiting Disneyland. It's also quite special because it is dated 1962, so it dates pretty much back to the original Disneyland park. There were few changes made from the opening of the park to 1962, but most of the original park is documented here. Now, I have visited Disneyland several times, but I never really thought, how did this park come into being? Why did Walt Disney want to make a theme park in addition to everything else that he was doing? So as I was preparing to film this booklet, I thought, why not go all out and share with you the history of the park, share some of the behind the scenes and reasonings why Walt Disney wanted to make a theme park, and then we will flip through Walt Disney's Guide to Disneyland.
The world is a carousel of color. Wonderful, wonderful color.
While both Walt Disney and Disneyland are well known, few people know the long and extraordinary path that led to the creation of Disneyland. Arriving in California in 1923, Walt Disney began making animated films that delighted audiences of all ages. After the landmark film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered on December 21st, 1937, the Disney team continued slowly growing its fan base through the subsequent decades. By the mid-1950s, Disney had experienced both triumphs and challenges, namely financial setbacks and world events like the Great Depression and World War II. Through it all, the company increased in its international popularity through animated shorts, motion pictures, and television programs. But Walt had a desire to explore new horizons. One idea in particular captured Disney's imagination: an amusement park where people could enjoy a variety of experiences and rides together as a family.
Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things. And I take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places. And as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, sit on a bench, eating peanuts, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where that the parents and the children could have fun together. So that's how Disneyland started. Well, it took many years. It was a period of maybe 15 years developing. I started with many ideas, threw them away, started all over again, and eventually it evolved into what you see today as Disneyland. But it all started from a daddy with two daughters wondering where he could take them, where he could have a little fun with them too.
The earliest documented draft of Disney's plans was sent as a memo to studio production designer Dick Kelsey on August 31st, 1948, where it was at the time referred to as Mickey Mouse Park. The initial concept was to have the park be just across the street from Walt Disney Studios on an 8-acre plot of land. But like most of Walt's ideas, the project quickly grew more and more ambitious. As designers began working on realizing these concepts, it was clear that 8 acres was just not enough space. A new plot of land had to be purchased, and the project was relocated to a former orange grove located in Anaheim, California, southeast of Los Angeles. The park took inspiration from several places, not only in the United States, but also in Europe, namely the Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen, the Chicago Railroad Fair, Colonial Williamsburg, the Century of Progress in Chicago, Knott's Berry Farm, and the New York World Fair. Construction began on July 16th, 1954, and cost $17 million to complete. The equivalent today would be around $153 million. By the time they were done, the dream had expanded into a sprawling 160-acre amusement park, with a total of 33 rides and exhibits spread across 5 lands: Adventureland, Fantasyland, Frontierland, Main Street USA, and Tomorrowland. The opening of Disneyland was scheduled as a private international press preview on Sunday, July 17, 1955. This event was supposed to be open only to select invited guests and the media to have a preview of the park before it was opened to the public the next day. When the day arrived, the weather was sunny but scorching hot, reaching 101 degrees Fahrenheit, and as you can imagine, the anticipation was just as high as the summer heat.
For the past year, this signature has announced the opening of Disneyland, the show. Now it announces the opening of Disneyland, the place. The people and eyes around the world are focused on these 160 acres here in Anaheim, California. This afternoon, Disneyland, the world's most fabulous kingdom, will be unveiled before an invitational world premiere, and you are guests. Art Linkletter will be your host, and with ABC crews and cameras on the spot, will guide you through this truly magic land.
Walt Disney, Governor Knight, the mayor of Anaheim, and other dignitaries are talking to the 3 chaplains representing the Protestant, Catholic, and Jewish faiths. And now, Walt Disney will step forward to read the dedication of Disneyland.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world. Thank you.
And any moment now, a flight of planes from the 146th Fighter Interceptor Wing of the California Air National Guard will be over as a tribute to Governor Goodwin Knight. Now the parade is on.
Hold up to catch the bomb.
28,000 people attended, with only about half of those being actual invitees. The rest had invited themselves into the park by either jumping the fence or forging tickets. Simply put, the park was not ready for the influx of extra guests. Food and drink ran out. Women's high heels were getting stuck on the wet asphalt of Main Street. Mark Twain's steamboat nearly capsized from too many passengers. Fantasyland was closed because of a nearby gas leak, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride succumbed to an overload of the park's power grid. Some parents threw their children over the crowd's shoulders to get them onto rides. And further complicating matters, Disney was given a choice of having either working drinking fountains or running toilets. He chose the latter, leaving many drinking fountains dry. This generated negative publicity since Pepsi was the sponsor at the park's opening. Many guests assumed that because the fountains were not working, this was a marketing ploy to sell more soda. The special Sunday events were broadcasted on television by ABC, and the show was broadcasted nationwide. Hosted by Art Linkletter, Bob Cummings, and Ronald Reagan, the broadcast mirrored the chaos that was unfolding in the park. Many guests tripped over the television camera cables. Disney had started to read the plaque for Tomorrowland too early, and after realizing he was on air, he had to begin the dedication over again. At one point in Fantasyland, Linkletter tried to give coverage to Cumming, who was not ready, and tried to give the coverage back to Linkletter, who had lost his microphone. It's safe to say that this was really the frontier land of both television and amusement parks. There was so much new happening and so much that people just were not really prepared for or experienced in.
Art Linkletter is looking for a microphone. He looks all confused. He's standing over there in front of the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And I think if he ever gets a microphone, we'll be able to talk to him because he's waving his arms. There's been something gone wrong here for just an instant, but you can't wonder, ladies and gentlemen, this is a tremendous, tremendous affair today. 160 acres of fantasy, and it's just great. Now here he comes with his microphone. He's coming out. Art Linkletter.
I'd like to read these few words of dedication. A vista into a world of wondrous ideas, signifying man's achievements. I thought I got a signal. Before our preview of Tomorrowland, I'd like to read these few words of dedication.
Years later, Disney and his executives still referred to July 17th as Black Sunday. However, the following day, the public opening proved to be a resounding success. Admission was just $1, equivalent to about $11 today, and it was quite an affordable option. I mean, especially compared to today's prices. It's safe to say that Disneyland was an instant success. Within 7 weeks, 1 million visitors had passed through the gates, and by 1957, that number soared to 10 million visitors. Now that we have learned a little bit of history about the park, let's walk through history and take Walt Disney's Guide Through Disneyland. At the time of this brochure being printed, a few new attractions had been added since the opening of the park. From 1955 to 1966, the park saw significant growth, with new attractions being added regularly. Disneyland christened a new land called Holiday Land. This period also saw the opening of Sleeping Beauty's castle, Frontierland's shooting gallery, and the Monsanto House of the Future. In 1955, the iconic Disneyland Hotel opened its doors as a motor inn, making it the first hotel with the Disney name on it. The early 1960s ushered in a new era of innovation and additions, thanks to a $7 million expansion plan. The Enchanted Tiki Room in particular was the crown jewel of this expansion. This groundbreaking attraction showcased state-of-the-art audio and animatronic systems, bringing mechanical flowers, birds, and tiki figures to life, creating a truly immersive experience. The Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, Jungle River Cruise, Haunted Mansion, and Old New Orleans Square were all also part of the extension plan. Shortly after, in 1966, Disneyland added a water ride called It's a Small World. This beloved attraction featured hundreds of audio animatronic dolls representing diverse cultures from around the world. A little interesting fact, though, this ride was not developed by the Disneyland team. It had actually been built for the New York World Fair and had been featured there from 1964 to 1965, after which Disneyland purchased the ride, transferred it over to California, where it became a permanent resident at Disneyland. All in all, I found this research project quite fascinating. The more I dug, the more fascinating information I found. And something that really captured my attention was the fact that so much has changed, but there are still a few pieces of the original park left there, which is not guaranteed. There are so many historical places that have been wiped clean several times, and what we view now as historic is actually a rebuild. So I thought it was pretty cool that they have still kept some of the original pieces from the original park. If something stuck out to you and captured your attention in this video, I would love to know what piqued your fancy. If you liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell to be notified when I post a new video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. To help keep my channel going, join my YouTube membership community to gain access to special perks and exclusive content, all while giving my channel financial support. Thank you so much for watching.